Hello everyone, I'm Alicia. Welcome to my Beautiful Nights channel. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make these really pretty earrings using a wire jig. And by the way, this is the first time that I will be using a wire jig in a tutorial on my channel. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you like it, please let me know because I'm thinking about doing more wire jig projects. Now, before I get started, I do want to talk a little bit about my experience with wire jigs. And the reason why I talk about this is because I always like to tell you guys tips, ideas, struggles I've had, problems I've had, things that didn't work out for me, so that when you go to make something, it turns out right for you, and if you have any problems, you know how to overcome them. Now, lately, I've been having some people that have been a little toxic and nasty, saying some things on my channel like I'm taking too long. One person, for example, I thought this was ridiculous. It was like, really? It took you 2 minutes and 25 seconds to get to the point. Come on, this is a class. I am teaching you guys how to make something, and what I'm talking about is important information to make the project. I'm not wasting your time talking about cats and unicorns and stuff that's totally unrelated to jewelry making. Everything I talk about in my tutorials is exactly for jewelry making and for what I'm making at that time in the video. So, if you're one of those nasty, toxic people that have been commenting on my videos, if you don't like my voice, if you don't like what I'm saying or doing, then why are you watching my videos? Go somewhere else. Enjoy some drama club, because that's not what my channel is about. My channel is about teaching and sharing my designs with you guys because I love to share the things that I make and I love to inspire and create with people. So that's what my channel is about. No drama needed here. So anyways, now going into my experience with working with wire jigs from the past. Long time ago, when I started getting into working with wire jigs, I bought this little cheapo wire jig that was plastic. The grid thing was clear, and it was like this big, and the pegs that went in it were plastic. And I wanted to make pieces with that so bad, and I tried, and every time I tried, because it was plastic, the pegs always came out on me, and the wire that came with the kit was really thin, and I just never got good results. So a few years ago, I bought a good wire jig. The one I bought is this one here. It's made by Bead Landing. It's called a thingamajig. It's a metal one. This one here is actually from my friend Lisa, and this one here is the one, this is the same one, it's just this one's already opened. This is the one I bought, and right after I bought it, like a few months later, my friend Lisa sent me one, and I could have kicked myself because it's like, this happens to me all the time. I'll finally break down and buy something, and then someone will give me the same thing, or I'll find something better for cheaper somewhere else. It always happens to me. So yeah, this wire jig here is really cool because it's all metal, and when you put the pegs in and they come out the back, there's these little stoppers here that you push on to prevent the pegs from coming out, and I just found this to be really easy to wrap on. And also, I've really learned that the secret to using a wire jig is, in making these pieces, is to work harden them. You have to work harden them for them to turn out nice, and also you want to use at least a 20 gauge wire or higher. I was actually wanting to make these with 18 gauge, but I stayed with 20 because it worked for me. Here is the list of materials you will need to make these earrings. You're going to need 20 gauge wire. You can use any craft wire you like. Now, I did not try artistic wire, and I usually find that to be a very argumentative wire. It's really strong and it always springs back on me. So that might not be a good one, but I have tried copper wire, and this wire here I think is actually a brass craft wire, and that worked great. And you're also going to need teardrop beads, or really any beads of your choosing. I use check teardrop beads that I just recently got in a subscription, and I made my own jump rings and I put them on the teardrops, and so cute. This teardrop here is bigger, so I had to make a larger jump ring in order to get this one to work. Now, if you don't have teardrops, like I said, you can use any beads you want, but you might have to use head pins depending on, you know, what beads you use. So yeah, that's the material list. Now for the tools, there's a lot of different tools I'm using. Of course, you're going to need a wire jig. I'm using the Bead Landing thingamajig. This is from Michaels. You can use a coupon to get it if you already have one, and you can get it really cheap, like dirt cheap. They're not very expensive at all. Now you're also going to need this part here is very important, a bench block. Now if you don't have a bench block, you do have other alternatives. First of all, if you have a husband, go to your husband and ask him if he has some kind of a flat metal surface that you can hammer on, and he probably will. So some things I thought of that you could hammer on would be a sledgehammer. Some sledgehammers are like really flat on the side, and you can hammer on that to work harden your wire. And another good one I realized would be an axe, as long as you don't cut yourself. I actually have an axe that has a guard on it, so you can't cut yourself, but it has a flat, you know, side that you can hammer on. Now when you go to hammer on this, you want to use a nylon jump hammer because this work hardens the metal. If you use a metal hammer to work harden your wire and you're using that on a metal surface like this, you will mar your wire. You're going to leave indentations in it, and you don't want that. You want your wire to be work hardened. You don't want to change the look of your wire, okay? And these nylon hammers are really cheap. You can get them at your local craft store. I've got one at Walmart, and this one here is actually from BB Craft, and I love this one because it has a metal handle. It doesn't have a wooden handle like the one that I got at my local craft store. Now for the pliers, I'm using a bunch of different pliers. You don't have to use all of these. This is giving a weird glare in my camera, but they are very helpful. So I'm using nylon jaw pliers, I'm using Exuron flush cutters, I'm using bent chain nose pliers. You don't have to use bent chain nose. As long as you have a pair of chain nose, you're fine. I'm using round nose pliers, and here is my chain nose pliers. Now I'm also using mandrel pliers. Now here's the thing, you don't have to use these. This here is optional. So I'm using mandrel pliers to make my own ear wires because I want my ear wires to match my earring. So this here, I want it to be the same color. Sometimes, you know, when you buy pre-made findings and then you're working with wire, you'll find that the findings are a different metal color than, you know, what you're working with. So I made this entire earring from scratch, but you don't have to. You can just use whatever ear wires or earring findings you want and already made jump rings. But since I'm making my own, I will show you how to do that. I'm using mandrel pliers. Now you do have the option of making your own ear wires on your wire jig. So going to my wire jig parts here, see these pieces? This comes in I think 4 different pegs. This one here is the one that you would do for the ear wire, and of course you would use the smaller one to make your ear wire. Now for the mandrel pliers, you can get these in a set of 5. This is the round mandrel plier. This is the small one. I think this is like extra small. This one's small. And then this is the medium, I think. And then there's like large and extra large. So this one here I'm using for my ear wires. This one I'm using to make jump rings. And this one here I'm also using for ear wires. And you can use this side or this side for your ear wires. So I think this is everything. I hope that I got everything here. Oh, I'm also using a ruler, which is something that everybody has. And like I always tell you guys, I'm going to put the list of materials down there below the video. And all of the tools and any notes or anything I forgot to mention in the video. So let's go ahead and make this. It's going to be so much fun. So I've already gone ahead and straightened my wire with my nylon jaw pliers, and now I'm ready to put it on here. And my camera does not like reflective surfaces. This is going to drive me crazy, so I hope you guys can see everything. But here is my pattern. For some reason when I put my hands in the picture it's not as bad. So see my pattern here on my board? Go ahead and do the same exact pattern on your board. And then we're going to make our earring. And I gotta keep my hands in frame as much as possible because I realize it really does help with a reflective surface. Because look, I remove my hands and it goes really dark. Okay, so I'm gonna start right here at the top of my peg, and I leave like 1.5 inches of extra wire up here, and I go around the peg, the first peg, like this, okay? And then I have to wrap around this peg here. So I actually use, I think it was my bent chain nose. You could probably use regular chain nose, but because of how this is bent, it was easier for me to hold. I went like this, and I held my wire in place, I think. That's how I started it. And I go around this peg right here, okay? Like this. And I do like to use my chain nose to push the wire down and pull this up. Now it's going to be all weird and stuff at first. It's going to argue with you a bit, but it gets better as you go. You need to make sure that it's pulled tight. Slide that down. And I'm going to take the wire and wrap it around this peg. Okay, I need to make sure this is pushed down like that. I have my wire going around this peg here, and I'm going to go like this. So I'm going in between right here, and I'm going to wrap around this peg. Now every time after you wrap around a peg, you have to take your chain nose pliers and push your wire down, and also make it tight. If you feel like you have a big loop going around your peg, take your chain nose pliers and go like this and squish it down some. That helps a lot. And try to keep your wire down at the base on top of your board as much as you can so it doesn't come off. If it does come off the jig, you can still put it back on. That's no big deal. Okay, I'm going to wrap around this side now. Okay, and push this wire down. Okay, and then I have to go around this one, and see how I go in between here? Like, I could have went straight this way, but when I do that, I realize it made my loop really big, so I like to go in between, and then I back up and I go around like this. Okay, and again, go back, push your wire down, pull it tight. Once you get like 3 wraps here, you don't have to hold it up here. It gets easier as you go. Okay, so just make sure that this is pushed down. Okay, I'm pulling this tight around here, and I'm wrapping around this peg. Like this. Okay, again, pull this down, make sure it's tight, and I have to pull some more wire off of my spool. Okay, there we go. So this is what I have so far. Now I'm going to wrap around this peg here at the bottom. So pushing the wire down. Make sure it's pushed down before you wrap. Wrapping around the peg. I'm going to go in between these two and use my chain nose to push it down. Okay, then I'm going to come back around this peg like this. You can use your chain nose to pull it tight if you need to. And I'm going to continue wrapping around. Just like that. Again, I'll push all of these down. Okay. And then I have this one that I have to go around. Make sure that you continue to push it down as you go. Okay, so I went in between here, and then I'm gonna go back around. Well, not back around, but around that one. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. My loops look pretty consistent. I think it's good so far. Okay, I have to go around this peg now. Okay, use the chain nose to bring the wire down just like that. Okay, and then I have to go around this one. Again, use the chain nose just like this. Push everything down. If you need to, stop and look at it from above and see if you need to adjust anything. I think that I could move this that way a little bit. Yeah, you'll see little things that you can change, like maybe you need like one area like here to be closer together, so you can use your pliers for that. But I do find that really when you're adjusting things here, you want to use your round nose pliers so that you don't put angles, because you know chain nose pliers have the sharp edge and you can get that in your wire if you're not careful. Okay, so now I have to go around this peg just like this, pushing it down, and then I go up right here. Okay, now before I take this off, I go around the entire thing, make sure that I push all of the pieces down, do any adjusting that I have to do before I take it off, because I want the loops to look really good. And I think this one here, I can actually pull this tighter and make that loop there look better. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust mine a little bit. Okay, so Mine I think looks pretty good. I can adjust it more when I take it off the loom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the wire that I was working with, not the short tail, but the long wire that I was working with. I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to make a little bend in it. Okay, right up here. So right up here at the top, you want to grab it about here and you want to bend it like this. Do you see how I just bent that? Okay, and then take this wire, this little tail, bring it around this peg. Okay, I'm gonna slide this down. Mine is bouncing up again, so I have to slide it all down like that, and I'm going to wrap just like this. Okay, one time. See that? Now I can take it off of my board there, and now you can see it much better. Man, that reflective surface is really annoying. I hope that is not terrible on camera. That would be such a bummer. I went through all that work and it doesn't look good. Okay, I'm going to hold my wire just like this with my chain nose. Okay, make sure you have a good grip on it, and I'm going to make 3 wraps around. Now it's okay if this here gets bent out of shape. We can fix that. I'll show you how. I'm going to tighten my wraps. Okay, and then cut the wire. I was going to say cutting the wire. Yeah, like that makes any sense. Just like that. And then I'm going to close this up, which I need my crimp tools. I always use my crimp tools to do this, but I don't have them out. I have like 7, 8 pairs of pliers out, and I don't have my crimp tools. What is wrong with me? Okay, so I got that. And now I'm going to cut my wire, and I just need enough to make a loop, so maybe there. I'll cut more off if I have to. And then I'm going to go to my round nose pliers. And how big is the loop? I already have one of these made. It's a small loop. I think I have to cut more wire off. I'm going to bend this first though. So I bend it like that. Cut some more wire off. I'll adjust it more if I have to. Yeah, I do. I have a tiny loop in that one. There we go, that's good. Okay, and here's our piece. And it's a little bit out of shape, but we can fix it. And I'll show you how. So this here is going in that direction. I need to just go like that and bend it back. And since this hole here is kind of small, we need to make it bigger. And to do that, I put my pliers in here. And I hold the wire right here, right? Because we don't want that area to change. We want this area to change. And I open my pliers, and that makes it bigger. And you can just see little things that you'll have to change, like bend that over. And see how like this loop here is going down and this one's up higher. So to change that, I just take my round nose pliers and I roll the wire in this direction. Look at that, I just fixed it. And there's just little things that you can do. Like this teardrop shape here, I feel like it's kind of funny looking, so I'm going to open that up more with my pliers. And then I can open this side up more here to match the other side. So you just want to fidget with it and get it to look the way you want. Actually, I think that there needs to be, there we go. That looks better. Yeah, so there's just little things that you have to fix, and right now it's not very flat as you can see, so I have to work harden it. Alright, so to hammer this, I'm going to hold on to it like this with my chain nose pliers, and then I'm going to hammer it with the yellow side, because this side's nylon, this side's actually rubber, and I've always used the nylon side. I don't know if the rubber side work hardens it. I don't know what the deal is with that side. I just know that this one work hardens it. So I'm going to hold it like this on my bench block, and I'm going to hammer it until it is nice and flat. And I like to flip it over and do the other side. And sometimes the hammer will alter the shape of some of your loops, so you will have to fix it, which is no big deal. I did that easily. I have noticed that sometimes when you hammer one side, it'll cause it to curve. So you have to flip it over and hammer the other side, and you do that. You flip it going back and forth until it is flattened, and you can go ahead and decorate it with beads. So I'm just going to do this a few more times, make sure it's nice and flat and stiff, and then we're going to decorate it. Into my wire again with my nylon jaw pliers, and now I'm going to make my own jump rings. And like I told you guys, this is the really small bell making plier. I think this is extra small, and this is the small one. I'm going to use this size for the tiny teardrops, and then for the big one that I did on this earring, I had to use this size here. But you'll see when you make your jump rings, whatever size you'll need to fit through your teardrops, you'll figure it out. Okay. Now, I'm going to, first of all, I need to make sure this is a flush cut, and it looks like it's pointed. So, in order for the cut to be flat, I have to make sure this side is facing in this direction, so that's a flat cut there. And then I'm going to wrap, let's see, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to hold my wire like this, and I'm going to wrap it around my pliers. And I need 8 jump rings, so I'm going to go around 8 times. And I do stop and take it off because sometimes, see how I have like gaps in my coil, and I squish it together because I want them to be all the same size. Okay, and I've kind of lost count there, but we're going to go ahead and cut and see how many we have. Alright. So, cutting my jump rings, I have a cut that's right here. So to cut the first one, I want to make sure that I cut it in this direction. I'm going to zoom in because I want to make sure you guys can see this. So to get our sides to be flush with each other, you want to make sure that you cut this side here like this, okay? Because this side here will make it pointed. So I'm going to cut right there. That's my first jump ring. And then I just continue on. I have to turn my pliers and cut in this direction. And then turn and cut in this direction. And again I turn. Turn again. Or flip them. Flip again. Let's see, you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many did I need? 8. Is this perfect? Did I get this perfect? That doesn't happen all the time. Yes, I got 8 jump rings. That was an accident. That is a miracle right there. Thank you, Jesus. You always have to thank the Lord when something good happens. Okay, I can't believe I got that. Okay, so I have my little teardrops here, and I'm going to open my jump ring, and I have noticed that the side that is flush cut will go on to the bead better than the side that is not flush cut. And if you want, you can flush cut both sides. That's totally up to you. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So here is my bead. I'm just going to go like this, wiggle it on like that, okay? And then put it onto my earring. And on this one, I did the copper ones all at the bottom, the acid wash copper. So I'm going to put this one on first. And I'm not going to do all of these with you guys because it's pretty simple, as you can see, but I am going to show you how I did the center. So I tried, for this center, I tried just putting one jump ring right here, okay, where this X is at, and it looked so weird. It was hanging at an angle. So then I realized, well, what if I put a jump ring on this side and that side, and then one in the middle? And I did, and I like how it looks. I also tried putting a jump ring here and here. That is another option if you want to try that, but I kind of like it how I have it right now, so I'm going to do that. So to do that, you have to pick up a jump ring, okay, and you're going to attach it right here. You're going to attach another one on the other side, but in order to close it, you have to lay it down. You cannot pick this up and close it. It will not close for you. Okay, get another one, put it on the other side, and then I'll show you how to put the middle teardrop on, which is a little tricky, but we'll get it. Okay, so this one is now going to go here, and again you have to lay this down in order to get it to close. Okay, close that, and then get another jump ring. Now some of these teardrops don't want to go on the jump ring all the way, so you will have to, I'll show you. Hopefully this one screws up for me. It's hoping it screws up. Is it going to screw up? Okay, yes, it kind of is screwing up. Okay, so see how it doesn't want to wiggle all the way down? If you wiggle and wiggle, it will sometimes eventually go down, but sometimes it won't. But as you can see, right there is my wire. It is just barely right there at the edge. So what I do is I go like this, okay? I pick up my earring, I pass this jump ring through both of these. Look what I just did. I pass through both of these jump rings like this. Okay, I'm going to hold my jump ring here close to the edge. I'm going to pick up my center bead. I'm going to slide this on. Be careful you don't crack it. Okay, so see, it's just like that. And then I'm going to take my other plier and I'm going to gently close it and just line up that seam right there. See that? Okay. And then voila, all done. So you might have some other teardrops that do that too. You just close in the same exact way. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So to make the ear wires, you can use either one of these. It's totally up to you if you want your loop to be smaller or bigger. But I already went ahead and cut two 2-inch pieces of my 20 gauge wire. I made sure that they are the same exact length, and I also made sure that I flush cut both ends. And I'm going to hold them like this side by side. I'm going to grab them right here in my pliers, making sure they are even, and I'm going to wrap my wire around, making loops. And I do them at the same time. I make my earrings together because if you don't, they're not going to be a matching pair. They're going to look different. Okay, so right there, as you can see, I just did that. Now what I have to do is put these back together, and I'm going to put them onto this plier. Now some mandrel pliers have different sizes. You can use that pair too to make your earrings if you want. But this one here, again, you can use either side to make your ear wire. It's up to you if you want a smaller looking one or a bigger one. I'm going to go with the bigger one. If I do go with the smaller one, I might have to trim some wire off because these here might be a little too long. So to do the big side, I have to make sure that my loops are facing in this direction. Come on, loops, turn around. Okay, just like that. See that? Okay, so they're going in that direction. And I'm going to bring my wire all the way down here because I need to make sure these stay flat, and the only way to get them flat is to have them all the way down there at the base of my pliers. Okay, and then I'm going to go like this and wrap my wires around my mandrel. Okay, And I do see for some reason mine didn't line up, so I will have to adjust them some. And I like to like go really close like this, okay, to my loops. And then I keep them on the plier. I swap hands because I'm right-handed, okay. And then I have a tail for some reason. I don't know what's going on. This has never happened before. So I'm going to trim that off. I want them to be even. And then I want to find a good place to bend. Let's see, I'll bend right here. Okay. And I'll take them off. And there we go. We have our ear wires. Now I am going to work hard on mine since I have my bench block out. Sometimes I don't like to do it because sometimes I bury my bench block because by the way, to keep this from rusting, I put mine in a quart-size baggie with WD-40 when I'm not using it. So let's go ahead and work hard on my ear wires, and then we'll put them onto the earrings. It's really this area right here that you want to work hard in, where it bends. I do the entire thing though, but this right here is the weak point of the ear wire. And I always flip it over. Okay, it's work hardened, and we are ready to open up this loop and put our earring on. Finishing touches right here. And I think I want this side to be the front, and how I can tell that is because of how the top looks right here. See how it's prettier on this side? This side, not so much. This is the front side. So I'm just going to go like this, and then I'm going to close it shut. And there we go. Do you see how I make my ear wire go down way past this point here? Like that? I've noticed that with my design, compared to the store-bought design, this ear wire stays in my ear. It does not fall out because I go past this loop, and because the wire is bent so close to this loop. That's how I keep my ear wires from falling out. I feel like I never have to put the rubber thing on there because I make them like this. So I hope this was very helpful to you guys, and this turned out so pretty. I really like purple and copper together. This is my first time using these two together, and they are so pretty. So this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I would like to do more projects with my wire jig. Hopefully when I go to edit this, it doesn't look bad on camera. The reflective surface sometimes argues with the camera, so I'm going to edit that and make sure that it looks good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like this video, leave me a comment, subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and make sure you click the bell button so you get notified when I upload new videos, and check me out on my social media sites. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.